They tax it to your property tax. You don't pay your property tax, they take your home. You will pay. You will pay whatever the government says you will pay without the people's input. And that's the part I want to address. I think it's definitely important because I stand to make money, guys. I really do. If you vote yes, I win. But I feel it is important enough for you that I stand up and at least tell you my opinion. Now, my opinion could be wrong. It could be. But having worked with law enforcement for the last 5 years as a lobbyist in the city of Sacramento, it's not how we read this, it's how they read this. And it's very important that you know what you're voting for when you vote for it. Once you make that determination, I'm going to swing with it whatever way it goes. For me, it's a win-win proposition. For you, you're going to go back into a slightly amount of prohibition. It's going to take us a few years to go. You're going to keep some attorneys deployed. You're going to keep some lobbyists moving over here. But you lose. That's the bottom line. You lose on it. I just want you to remember how important it is and how far we have come. And it's taken us 13, 14 years to get right here where we are right now. Don't take a step backwards. I want to see this go forward. I want to see us be able to buy any type of cannabis product, same as you buy aspirin. You have a headache, you go to the store, you pick it up. This isn't going to do this for you. Please look at the law before you vote and make your own determination. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. We will have a rebuttal from the yes on Prop 19. Dale Sky Jones.
Good afternoon, HempCON. How are you guys doing today? Oh, come on, you can do better than that. Good afternoon. Not too shabby. Thank you for having us here. I appreciate just having an honest conversation and a debate. It's good to have you join us. I just watched a new episode last night. I was very impressed. Those of you that don't know, Dragonfly from Cannabis Planet. Yes, she was not here for introduction, so we should welcome her. My name is Dale. I have been Executive Chancellor for Amsterdam University for the past few years, running around working with all of these local governments, and I've had the pleasure this past year, the dubious pleasure, of working in Sacramento. And it has been phenomenal having some of these closed-door discussions with our elected leaders. It turns out that really we are the experts in the room, and this is good news for all of us, because when you walk in the room, you already know more than they do. So it's really just a matter of education for our elected leaders, and in many cases law enforcement, many of which support you guys. I think we all agree when we call 911, we want them to show up quickly, well-trained, well-prepared. We just don't want to be the priority for having plants in the back room, right? So this is about public safety, public health, public programs for sure. But I'm not in Sacramento today. And while I represent you when I'm there, I'm here to represent what this proposition will do, and importantly, what it will not do. There's a lot of disingenuous information out there, and it's coming from all sides. Everybody's scared. Really, most of us fear change, however it comes our way, because it's hard to grapple with what our place in the world might be. So it's first just getting through that natural fear of change, and then looking at the actual issue at hand. These scare tactics are oftentimes really just genuine concerns. 87,000 people were arrested this past year in California. So when we talk about control right now, the control is in the hands of cops. We don't even have a fighting chance, and the target is firmly on the backs of patients. You just get arrested for smelling like pot. And if we pass Prop 19, that can't happen anymore. In fact, you can't be discriminated against for having smoked pot. Now, it's not to say your employers can't have rules against it. You know, that will always stand. It stands for alcohol. It even stands for cigarettes in some locations. However, you can't be discriminated against anymore. And, you know, profit margins aside, and frankly, this was not written for Richard to profit or for Lynette to profit, It was written so that each of you can set your own way and work with your local governments to determine how to get those permits issued. She might make a lot of money. So could you. We've got winery models. Why go to a bed and breakfast when you can go to a bed and breakfast? Our Californians grow the best damn weed anywhere, anytime. You don't think that others might come to join you for a couple days, experience the horticulture model, have a little brunch, little bud? We have options here, you know? But for the rest of you that really need that $2 chuck because you can't afford the fancy crap, we need to have that available for you too. Especially the folks that just can't afford it, that need just good quality, cheap medicine. These counties and cities are scrambling to tax everything they can, including parcel. I got 1 minute. They're scrambling to tax everything right now. They're going to tax anything. We're trying to subsidize adults for medical patients, so they'll drop the tax on medical and tax adults. This is the only option you will see to grow your own. Not even medical on the ballot for any other state will allow patients to grow your own. If we don't pass the ability for adults to have it in their closet instead of having to go through corporate cannabis, this is the only shot we got, guys, is right here in November to make that happen. The scare tactics about what this will do or won't do to patients is a simple misinterpretation in the reading of a very confusing legalese initiative. This initiative, both clearly in its purposes and also intent, as well as the letter of the law, says except as allowed by Prop 215 and SB 420. What that means to you is that everything that you do currently as a patient, including growing your own, having as much possession as you need, growing what you need, is still protected. You're still protected as a patient. Don't believe the misinformation. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Yeah! Thank you, Dale.
Woo!
We're going to have a response to that. We would like to have Letitia Pepper come on. Are you going to? All right. We'll have the attorneys speak last, and we'll have Dragonfly come up and give her a rebuttal. Thank you so much. Give us a round of applause.
Hi, I'm Dragonfly de la Luz. Thanks for coming and thanks for being interested in this. It is super important that we make the right decision come November 2nd. I'll just go right into, thank you for speaking, right into her rebuttal. She says that medical marijuana will not be affected because it says so in the purposes and intent section of the initiative, as well as in the ballot argument, she says. Whatever is in the purposes and intent section of an initiative will not be codified into law. That will not become law. The only part of an initiative that becomes law is the ballot initiative itself. She's right. There is a part in the ballot initiative that says, except as permitted by those health code sections that refer to Prop 215. Those refer to two things and two things only: the right to possess, the right to consume. Nowhere is the word cultivation mentioned in this regard. So it does not protect our cultivation rights. Your right to grow, which now, as Lynette said, is up to an unlimited number of plants, would decrease to whatever can fit in a 5x5 space. What's that, 3 to 6 plants or so? Not only that, but cities will have the right to tax you whatever they want on that 5x5 space, even if it's just for your personal use. Cultivation for personal use could still be taxed. And as someone mentioned about the city of Rancho Cordova, they've already been saying how much they're going to be taxing if this passes. And that would be on your 5x5 space, as she said, $600 per square foot. That comes out to be $15,000 per year for the right to grow 3 to 6 plants. And it's a higher tax bracket if you want to grow more than that. So a 10 by 10 space is going to cost you $90,000. Not many people are going to be growing their own weed at that point. If they are, they could get arrested just as they would now. That would not change. Oh, and that's regardless of whether it's recreational or medical. They can still tax you out the wazoo. Now, in 1937, the Marijuana Tax Act did something a bit strange. It didn't make marijuana illegal. It prohibited the possession of marijuana unless you had a government tax stamp, which the government never issued. So while you were legally able to have marijuana, there was no legal outlet for you to actually be able to do it. And that's the same thing that will happen here. We will be legally allowed to grow in a 5x5 space, but it's going to be completely infeasible for us to actually afford to be able to do it. You won't be able to exercise your right to grow in a 5x5 space if Prop 19 passes. The only other thing Prop 19 promises to do is to allow you to carry 1 ounce without any criminal record, right? Well, right now in California, carrying 1 ounce is a misdemeanor. It's not an arrestable offense. You cannot get arrested for having 1 ounce in California. They might fine you $100. You cannot go to jail unless you don't have your ID with you or you refuse to go to court. Then they can arrest you. But who's going to refuse to go to court if it gets them out of arrest, you know? Anyways, the state assembly has already decided to downgrade that status from a misdemeanor to an infraction. An infraction, that's what you get when you pull a Yui and a cop pulls you over. An infraction does not go on your criminal record. It has no criminal record status whatsoever. The only thing we're waiting on is for Governor Schwarzenegger to sign it. We all know he's a total stoner. He's gonna sign it. So basically, we're already home free in that regard. And it's just a matter of days or whatever that we're able to carry 1 ounce without threat of having a criminal record. So that's 2 things Prop 19 promises, proposes to do. One of them is probably going to be impossible for you to afford. The other one we're already going to have independently. In fact, Prop 19 won't reduce arrest rates either, because as I said, you can't get arrested for carrying, for having 1 ounce. That 80,000 people being arrested number that she threw out does not refer to anything that would become legal under Prop 19. Those are people that were smoking, that had weed on school grounds, or whatever, but not for simple possession of an ounce or less. It's not an arrestable offense. In fact, Prop 19, because it creates more prohibitions than it eliminates, Prop 19 could in fact have more people going to jail, because it makes non-arrestable offenses like, say, passing a joint, being in a group of people hanging out smoking a joint. Some of them are over 21, some of them are under 21. You could go to jail for that. 6 months in jail for passing a joint to someone who's 20 years old. 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine. Right now, you can't go to jail for that. It's a $100 fine if you're caught passing a joint to someone who's under 21, or an adult between 18 and 21. So Prop 19 actually creates more reasons for people to go to jail. It just shifts the arrest demographic. It doesn't stop the arrest. How much time do I have? 6 seconds? So my last point's going to be the price of marijuana. We'll go with that one. I've got a zillion, but we'll go with that one. They cited a study that said the price of marijuana is going to decrease. What that study said was that there won't be that risk factor for people to do it illegally. Fine, the risk factor goes away. Do you think that means Richard Lee's going to charge you less for weed? They already know you're going to pay $300 an ounce for it because that's what you do now. They're not going to charge you any less. In fact, one of the corporate cultivation grows that just got a license in Oakland, they said that they're going to grow 58 pounds a day in their corporate grow and make $59 million a year. I did the math. That comes out to like between $2,800 a pound and $3,900 a pound. Wholesale, dude. And everybody knows that